We just finished Vacation Bible School too, so I understand the decorations. It looks beautiful in here. But thank you guys for having me. Like he said, I am Brianna Hogan with Isaiah 117 House here in Cocke County. Just out of curiosity, just raise your hand if you're familiar with Isaiah 117 House. Okay, good. That's good. The place I went to last week, there was only like 4 people. So I'm glad that some of you guys are familiar with us. And I'm just here to share with you guys today everything that we do, how we serve the community, how we serve the kids, and ways that you guys can get involved to help us. So we are Isaiah 117. So our verse is, learn to do right, seek justice, defend the oppressed, take up the cause of the fatherless, and plead the case of the widow. And so we are continually taking up the cause of the fatherless. So at Isaiah 117 House, our mission is to reduce trauma for kids on removal day. So if you're not familiar, we work with kids that are entering the foster care system, which is the Department of Children's Services. Before Isaiah House existed, when kids are removed from their situation for whatever reason, they go to a state office and they wait in a cubicle. They wash their hands in the same sink that we drug test parents. They wait in the back of a car. They wait at a police station, wherever it may be, while DCS is working on placement for them. Absolutely no fault to DCS at all. They're doing their job, but it's really not an ideal place for a kid to be on a very traumatic day. And so 7 years ago, our founder, Rhonda Paulson, she lives in Cocke County, Tennessee, just right down the road. She went to go pick up 2 kids to bring them into her home. And when she picked them up from the state office, got them out of a cubicle. They came with the clothes on their body and nothing more than that. And she went home and the Lord began to work on her, and she started to think, what if there was a home? What if there was a home for these kids to go to on a really hard day? What if there was a home for these kids to go to where we could serve them and love on them and show them grace and compassion? And what if there was a home where we could provide them with their basic needs so they have faith that things will be okay moving forward? And so in March of 2018, 7 years ago, Cocke County opened the first Isaiah 117 house. At that time, Rhonda thought there would only be 1 house. And the Lord quickly began to grow that. Here in Cocke County, it was the 4th house to open. In March of this year, we just celebrated our 3-year anniversary. So our Red Door has been open for 3 years now. We've served over 375 kids that have walked through our Red Door. And so when kids walk through our door, every kid is our guest. Trauma is a very difficult thing to work through. You never know what to expect. Trauma affects all kids differently. And so we are there to support them and show them love and grace. When they walk through our door, we want them to know, love, you are not alone. That is our mission. We're able to show God's grace to them by reminding them that they are not alone and being there for them and walking with them on probably one of the hardest days of their lives. So when they come to us, we provide them, like I said, with all of their basic needs. It is a yes day. I've went to Fox and Hounds and got steaks. I've cooked dino nugs. Whatever they want, they get when they come to us. They stay with us roughly 72 hours, so for 3 days, unless they find placement sooner. We also try and help fill in the gap too. There's a lot of teenagers, if they've had some previous behaviors, that have a hard time finding placement. And so sometimes they will stay with us longer than that 3 days. And we try and help fill in that gap there too until they're able to find placement. But they get a brand new duffel bag. It was hard for me to wrap my mind around this, but when you see on movies kids carrying their things in a trash bag, that's real life. And that really happens right here. And the first kid that I seen come in with their things in a black trash bag, I thought I was going to just crumble on the floor. But the amount of dignity that we're able to provide these kids by giving them just a clean bag to put their things in is unbelievable. So each kid gets a duffel bag. They get 4 to 5 new outfits, socks, underwear, pajamas, all their basic hygiene needs. They get to pick however many toys they want. We fill their bags up. Everybody gets a homemade quilt from one of our quilting clubs here in Newport. And they get everything that they need for about the first 4 to 5 days at their new foster home. And so we have a threefold mission. Our mission is to reduce trauma on removal day. And I don't know if you can think back to when you were very little. If you were very scared, you might want a teddy bear, or you might want your mama or daddy. You might want your favorite food. You might want a cookie. You might want ice cream. And unfortunately, in a DCS office, that's just not available for them. But when they come to our house, we are able to provide them with a teddy bear, with lots of love, lots of grace, lots of compassion on a very hard day. And so our first part of our mission is to reduce trauma for them. Our second part is to lighten the load of our caseworkers. Our caseworkers have an incredibly hard job. They're bringing kids to us where they have literally just pried a child off of their parent, screaming, crying, coming to us. That's traumatic for the child. That's also traumatic for the worker that just had to do that. Because unfortunately, no matter how bad the situation is at home, no matter what they're living in, those kids still want their mama and daddy. And so our caseworkers have a very hard job. Here in Cocke County alone, there are currently 97 kids in state's custody. That's a very big number for a small town. There's 97 kids in state's custody, so our caseworkers have a very hefty load. They carry a lot of cases, they work long hours, they work really hard days. And so we love on them. When they walk through our door, it's, hey, can I make you a cup of coffee? Can I get you something to drink? Would you like something to eat also? We serve them and we love them to the best of our ability. We have a giant kitchen table that's in the middle, and then we have our 2 living areas, and DCS is able to sit at the kitchen table and work on finding these kids placement while we interact with the kids and play with them, and so they're not hearing hard conversations. Especially as a teenager, could you imagine being in a cubicle and DCS is calling a family member and that family member says, no, we can't take them? That's a real tough conversation to hear. So we're able to separate the kids from those conversations happening while DCS can focus on their work. And lastly, part of our mission is to ease the transition for foster families. Saying yes to being a foster family is an incredibly hard yes, and we want to be there to support you as best we possibly can. As I said, there's 97 kids in custody. There's currently 7 open foster homes in Cocke County. That math doesn't add up. It's a big number. There's not a lot of homes open here, and so we want to make that transition as easy as possible. So whatever you need to pass your home study, if it's a twin-size bed, if it's carbon monoxide monitors, fire extinguishers, we want to ease that transition for you. Walmart here is not open past 11 a.m. or 11 p.m. anymore. And trauma doesn't just happen between 9 and 5. Most of our calls come in late at night. We can't, if a foster family gets a call at midnight to take a kid in, they can't run to Walmart and get what they need. And so that's when we step in and we provide them with everything that they need to ease that transition. It's a whole lot easier to say yes when you have somebody supporting you than to say yes and know that you're on your own. So that's the 3 pieces of our mission. A side part of our mission, because here in Cocke County, kinship is huge. And what kinship means is if a kid is being taken away from their family and they go straight to a grandparent or an aunt or an uncle, someone in their family takes them in. When that happens, kids don't actually go into state's custody. They just go straight to that family member. And that happens so frequently, and I know that that happens frequently because I was a first grade teacher before I came to Isaiah House, and probably more than half my kids lived with a grandparent or an aunt or an uncle. And so we wanted to be able to love on those kids the same way we do kids that actually walk through our red door. So we have a program where caseworkers can give the kinship family a card with our number on them, and they contact us and we provide them with a bag and beds and anything else that they may need the same way we would if they walked through our door. Now our house is not a facility. It is an actual home. It looks like a home. It smells like a home. It works like a home. When kids walk in, we want them to feel like this is an actual home. Just a couple weeks ago, we had a sibling set of 4 come to our house, and the caseworker explained to her, we're going to go stay at Isaiah House for a couple of days. And they pulled in the driveway, and the little 3-year-old baby screaming so excited, I've never stayed in a house before. And when she walked in, her face, her excitement, and it was a sibling set of 4. The 16-year-old brother, you could absolutely tell, had been parent for a very long time. When these kids were removed, they had been days without food. They hadn't been in school in who knows how long. They had been neglected in every area possible. And that brother was, you could literally see the tension in his body of needing to take care of his siblings. And after a few hours, we were literally able to see him take a deep breath. He realized his siblings were safe. He didn't have to worry about how they were going to get their next meal. He started playing video games. He was able to be a kid like he should be, because we were able to help with those small kids, and he just took a big sigh of relief. There's lots and lots of stories. When people think Isaiah House, they think small babies. I will tell you, it is very rare that we get a small baby. We have a lot of teenagers, and we get teenagers literally during their most defining moments. And the fact that we are able to be that glimpse of hope for them, that things don't have to be this way forever. 2 weeks ago, had a sweet boy come in, 16 years old, detoxing. And I was able to look at him and say, I believe in you. And kids don't hear that normally coming from trauma. And after I left him, I spoke as much life as I possibly could into him. He was just, they're all special, but I walked in the bedroom and he had his feet propped up and he had taken the Bible out of the drawer and he was laying there reading the Bible. And he said, I used to not like this book, but my grandpa told me I needed to start. And so we get to provide that environment for all kids on an incredibly hard day. And I'm sorry, I work in it every day and I still get emotional every day. But there are a couple of ways. We are 100% community funded. We are not funded by the government, and so we rely on our community and our churches and all of our friends and family to help us keep our red door open. And so there's a couple different ways that the community, churches, individuals can get involved to help us. One, most importantly, we have a prayer team. We have specific prayers to our house, with confidentiality, of course, that go out every Monday morning. You just get me your email and we add you to that list. It's an email series that goes out once a week with just specific prayers for our kids or our house. So we have that. We, of course, have volunteering. There is only 2 staff at Isaiah House here, myself and one other part-time employee. And I don't know, I'm sure you all realize this, but 2 people cannot make that house run. It is, if we've served 375 kids in 3 years. It's a lot of kids. When I say our volunteers are the heart of our mission, I truly mean that. The house does not stay open without our volunteers. And there's several different ways to volunteer. Of course, there's caregiving, which is with kids. You have to go through some certification and background checks and all that. We have a maintenance team. Like I said, it's a home. Things tear up in that home, just like I've had to call people to come plunge toilets at 12 a.m. because I can't figure it out. We have people that come and mow our yard. We have community outreach teams, which means you just go out to festivals and things like that and help us spread awareness. This is, people think this just happens far, far away, and this is happening right here in our hometown, right here in our region. It's truly unbelievable. We kind of work on a rotation with some of the other houses beside us because there are so many kids that come in. If just one house did it, you couldn't keep up. And so volunteering is huge, and I'll be glad to talk to anybody that has any questions about that. We have a program called Bin Buddies, and so I mentioned that Walmart is not open 24 hours anymore. And so we have a little shed right outside of Isaiah House. We call it our mini Walmart, and it has pretty much anything you could ever imagine in there that a kid might need. We have a bin that's labeled with each size from newborn up to adults, and different individuals or churches or businesses will adopt a bin, And our giving room team will reach out to you at the end of each month and just let you know, like, hey, we've used 2 pair of pajamas out of your bin. Could you get those replaced? So basically, you're responsible for helping us keep 8 matching outfits, 4 pairs of pajamas, socks, and underwear in that bin at all time, because that gives us enough to supply 2 kids. And believe it or not, we have a lot of twins that come in. We have a lot of kids that come in that are the same size, and so we end up using that whole bin. So that's why we try to keep 2 kids worth in a bin. And lastly, we have our sock buddies. I mentioned that we are community funded, and so a sock buddy is a fancy word for a monthly donor. We are asking you to walk the journey with us. And so by walking the journey with us, you get a limited pair of socks that you can't find in stores anywhere else. Isaiah House will mail those to you. And so that can be anywhere from $5 up per month. I told myself $5 a month is one of my Starbucks coffee that I can give up. And so lots of different ways to get involved. But when I say that this house is needed, I mean it's very much needed. So I appreciate you guys coming and letting me speak and share about our mission. And I'll be glad to answer any questions if anybody has any. No questions?